What is up, everyone? Movie back again with another video, and today is going to be another end of month vlog. Just everything I watched in the month of July 2025. We've got a stack of Blu-rays here, some cinema releases, and of course some VOD streaming movies, if you like. I'm sorry I haven't been too active on this channel recently. I usually like to throw some Blu-ray updates and stuff, but I just haven't got to the amount yet where I want to show a Blu-ray update. I mean, it's been a very, very busy month in this house. You know, I've had my wife's birthday, my son's birthday. There's just been all sorts to do, you know, sorting out parties and everything like that. So I've had to put the Blu-ray buying just on the back seat for a little bit. But I've got a little stack going there, so I should have one in the next couple of weeks. Let's hope. But sorry, I have been a bit inactive on this channel lately. But yeah, you know how these videos go. So let's just get into it now with the first thing that I watched in July. First up, we do have Bring Her Back, another movie from the Philippou brothers, their second outing, and they brought Talk to Me to us a couple of years ago, which was really good. You know, I really enjoyed that one, and I didn't really know what to expect from this. We got this late. I mean, the US got it before us by a couple of weeks, well, a couple of months actually, should I say. I didn't really know what to expect. I stayed away from the reviews, the reactions, didn't watch the trailer. But I gotta say, guys, this is my new release of the month. Straight off the bat here, I absolutely friggin' loved this movie. Now, this sees this brother and sister, and the brother's very protective of his sister, and their father dies, and they have to go and live with this woman, played by Sally Hawkins, and their new sibling, who doesn't really seem right, to put it that way. Now, Sally Hawkins seems like this very welcoming and over-friendly woman, but there's just so many little things off about her. And as a viewer, you're kind of on edge about this. I mean, the young sister doesn't really seem to see anything wrong with it, although she is this blind girl, really, and she's blind in real life, and I thought Sora Wong put a great performance in her first ever role. But the brother, played by Billy Barrett, kind of can see little things here and there that he kind of doesn't like about Sally Hawkins. So there's a little bit of a three-way tug-of-war there, because Sally Hawkins takes a real liking to Sora Wong's character. But we find out more about this sibling they've got, who's acting very strange around the house as the movie goes on, and there's just something not quite right going on with this Sally Hawkins character and this, you know, this son that she already had living there. I can't really say too much more than that, because the movie plays better when you go in kind of blind or you don't really know anything. And as I was watching this, it was just unraveling constantly. I was always guessing what was coming around the corner, and it kept surprising me and pulling the rug from under my feet. But I loved the whole mystery of this movie. I loved seeing it peel back the layers and just finally finding out what the hell was going on here. I think it deals with the subject of grief really well. And I just think it's got strong performances in, likable characters in this brother and sister that you really root for, get behind. But it's edge of your seat stuff virtually all the way through it. And there's some moments here where I have to look away from the screen. I'm not usually like that with movies, but I was watching it going, damn, man. There's some grotesque moments in this film, put it that way. It doesn't hold back with the gore here and there in a couple of scenes. A very, very clever film. Two great movies from these directors now, and I'll be looking out for what they do in future for sure. So that is Bring Her Back. Next up, we do have the first Blu-ray in this pile, and that is the Suspiria remake from, is it 2019? 2018. And this is directed by a filmmaker who I really like, Luca Guadagnino, or however you pronounce his name. He's made some really good movies like Challengers and Bones and all. And I'd heard a lot of bad things about this film, but I am not the biggest fan of the original anyway. I think it's fine, but I think it's a tad overrated. However, I have only watched it once, so, you know, that might be sacrilege what I'm saying, and I probably will eat my words when I rewatch it again. It's a movie I really have high on my rewatch list, so I'm going to give it another go. But I would rather watch the original 100 times over than sift through this again. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie started off okay. I was invested in the character of Dakota Johnson and everything, and a lot of the other characters in the dance school, you know, they were fine. Mia Goth and everything in there, an actress I really like. But when it gets about halfway through, it just starts becoming very overly pretentious, very art housey, and a little bit dull and overlong. I mean, the pacing for this film Seems like it never is going to get to the end. And then when we get to the third act, I was just like, I hate everything that is happening on this screen right now. I can't stand what's going on here. I just want this movie to fucking end. Sorry about my language, but that's how I felt. Now, I give it 2 stars on Letterboxd simply because the first hour wasn't too bad and I was getting into it, but it just falls off a cliff. There's some real cool dance routine things in here and stuff like that. There's some nice direction, but I just feel like this movie is up its own ass. So, unfortunately for me, guys, I am one of them people who does not like this movie. And I'm sure a lot of people watching this will agree. So, that is the Suspiria remake. Next up, we have my older release of the month, and that is The Green Book, or Green Book, as it's just called, not the. I'd never seen this movie before. I know it got a lot of Oscar nominations. I think it actually won Best Picture, yes. And I had a lot of buzz around the time. I just never got round to it. I don't know why. And me and my wife had a fantastic time with this movie. This is about Viggo Mortensen, who's got to drive this guy, played by Mahershala Ali, who's obviously meant to be the next Blade, but I don't think that's happening right now, down the deep south of America. He's kind of like a protection, like a bodyguard for this guy, because it is happening. I think it's like in the 50s or 60s, and it's all racist, like heavily racist down there. I know it still is in parts to this day, but you know, he kind of needs someone to watch his back there. And the way this guy is treated, man, it's really upsetting. But Viggo Mortensen and him are opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, Viggo Mortensen is just like this rough, tough New York type guy who lives in an apartment and stuff like that. And Mahershala Ali is like this rich guy. I mean, he's very sophisticated. He's very well-mannered. And they just don't look like they're going to be the same. Could ever be friends. But what unfolds is this great friendship. I loved the connection these two had throughout the movie, and as they sort of come together as the movie goes on. And when Viggo Mortensen like kind of sticks up for this guy, you're really championing him, and you can see how their worlds sort of overlap each other and work for them in different ways. For example, Viggo Mortensen's got like this battered KFC chicken, and Mahershala Ali says, I have never had that and I never will. But Viggo Mortensen convinces him and he loves it. So, you know, it's just stuff like that that really is the heart of this movie. This real good friendship between these two guys. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was excellent, and I can see why it won Best Picture. Great performances from these two, but just a really good, heartfelt, entertaining, warm movie. So I highly recommend this if you haven't seen it, but I think I was the last man on earth to not see this. So that is The Green Book, or Green Book. Next up, we have our first big summer blockbuster of the month, and that is Jurassic Park Rebirth. Now, I really wasn't a big fan of Jurassic Park Dominion. I think Fallen Kingdom was okay for half the movie, then it sort of fell off a cliff where they were trying to sell the dinosaurs and stuff. It was a good concept, just not executed very well. So I don't really think we've had that good of a Jurassic Park movie since Jurassic World, which was, what, like 10 years ago now or something. And I didn't expect too much from this, even with trailers and stuff. Kind of looked like it was going back to the roots of the original a little bit. I just didn't hold too much hope for it. You know, you've been burned so many times with these movies, but I gotta say, I really did enjoy this movie. Now, this is Scarlett Johansson going into this. Like, basically the dinosaurs' interest has waned. Like, no one is interested in dinosaurs no more. So they live in this little part of the earth and no one is allowed there. But Scarlett Johansson has been tasked with going to get some DNA from 3 different dinosaurs, which will help heal a lot of diseases in the world. So, you know, it's like this mission she's been given. And here, and you know, the computer hacker guy and everything, you know, the different tropes of characters that you get in these movies. You know, got Mahershala Ali, believe it or not, who I've just talked about in here as like this tough guy. You know, they all go in there and try and get this DNA, these blood samples. But on the way, they kind of meet this family who are out at sea and fall into a little bit of trouble, and they have to come to this island with them. So there's like 10, 11 characters this movie centers around. Now, it does have 2 little stories going on. There's this like family dynamic with the family, and then there's like the goal of the movie, the mission for Scarlett Johansson. It does jump back and forth a little bit there, which I didn't mind. But you know, I think there's some cool dinosaur action in here. I really like the scene with the T-Rex and the whole raft scene. A lot of people have called that out to be a terrible part of the movie, but I really liked it. And the underwater sequence with that gigantic sort of dinosaur whale type shark was awesome. One of the best sequences we've had in any of these Jurassic Park movies. I really wish they'd stayed away from the mutant dinosaur thing. We don't really need that. But overall, I thought this was a real good adventure movie. Had a real fun time with it. Would definitely watch it again. And it's the best Jurassic Park we've had since Jurassic World. Now, there's been a lot of people online picking this apart and picking the plot holes and things that just don't make sense. And I agree with that to a point. But I could sort of overlook it because I just had a lot of fun with it. And sometimes I can't do that. With certain movies, I just can. Like one I'm going to speak about shortly as well. But yeah, real fun time, real surprise. That was Jurassic Park Rebirth. Next up, out of this box set right here, we do have I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, believe it or not, I've actually reviewed these movies twice on this channel and on my horror channel. So I'll leave a link down below, guys, to the horror channel ones because they are the better reviews. I done the ones on this channel about 5 years ago. But we do have first I Know What You Did Last Summer. Real cool concept, this one, about 4 friends who run over this guy and they decide not to tell the police because they can get away with it, but they hide the body. And a year later, they all start getting notes saying, I still know what you did last summer. Well, I know what you did last summer, should I say. And this killer fisherman type character comes after them all and tries to hunt them down one by one. Real good story there. I think it, you know, really does play with the audience and asking what would you do in the situation, stuff like that. 4 real, you know, good characters to get behind here. I do think Sarah Michelle Gellar is the standout of this movie, even though she's the supporting actress. I love the way Ryan Felipe just loses his shit with everyone as well, and that character in Scary Movie got him down to a T. But I think this movie suffers with the kills. There's one good kill in this film. The rest are kind of off screen or just blood being splattered on the wall. So yeah, I think that's why the fisherman hasn't been the most popular of horror movie characters, really, because his kills are lame. And I do think the ending is weak as well. The reveal is kind of weak. But overall, the whole story is good. I like how they go and visit this guy's family who think they've killed, and it shows the ripple effect of what grief can do to families, etc., etc. But yeah, it's just it's a fun slasher. You know, it's an easy watch. I remember the pacing on this movie as well. I was watching it and I went, I'm going to go and get a drink. And I thought, I'm about 30 minutes in here. I paused the Blu-ray and I was an hour in. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, it's just a very easy watch. One of the 90s slasher films that came just after Scream there. And this is Kevin Williamson's script before he wrote Scream. But the studios rejected it apparently. And then when Scream was a success, they decided to make this one. Yeah, not bad. That is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Next up, we have probably a movie that's in my top 10 comedies of all time, and that is Happy Gilmore. You all know the reason I was watching this, guys. We did have Happy Gilmore 2 coming this month, which I'll talk about shortly. But yeah, I just love this movie, man. This is like Adam Sandler at his best. He's a hockey player, but then realizes he's really great at golf. So he plays this golf tournament to make a load of money to get his nan's house back, which has been repossessed. He needs to raise like $300,000. But then we meets this guy called Chubbs Peterson, who is Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers, of course, who learns him to play golf and actually, you know, learns him to putt and stuff because he can actually hit a golf ball further than anyone. It's just his putting game that's not good. But when he puts it all together, he becomes a really great golfer. And I really like how he's just like beating people up and, you know, bringing this entertainment factor to the sport of golf. And everyone loves him for it. He gets all this fan base and everything. It's a real fun movie. And Shooter McGavin, who's like the opponent he's taken on, has got to be one of the biggest movie jerks ever, but you love to hate him. He's just such a great villain for this movie. Oh yeah, Happy Gilmore, man. It's friggin' awesome. It nearly got my older release of the month. But what a film, man. Just a great Adam Sandler comedy. So that is Happy Gilmore. Next up, we have Squid Game Season 3. And I gotta say, I was really surprised by this and season 2. I didn't expect much at all. After season 1 ended and they announced they were doing a season 2, I was like, oh really? You're just going to kill that now? That was just better left alone. But I was really surprised by season 2, and I actually couldn't wait for season 3 after season 2 ended on such a cliffhanger. And this sees, you know, our main character, I fucking really forgot his name, I'm really sorry. He's basically halfway through the games now, and people are still voting to play these games. And yeah, it's just more of the same, really. But what I will say, it gets quite clever in the last couple of episodes there with, I can't really, something comes into the games, put it that way, and it puts a whole new dynamic on things, especially for our main character. So I do think this was quite emotional as well at times, and it's just really fun. I mean, you're just having a great time with this show as it goes on. I love seeing the characters take on these deadly games and stuff, even though it is unfair at times on some of them. It really is. But man, I find myself shouting at the screen sometimes, because there's characters in this movie that I just hated. Like, you really, really hate them so much deep down, and you kind of shouting at the screen, just calling them stuff and stuff, because you're just like, you really want them to die. You do. You really can't wait for their death, and you know it's coming, because there's no way this show can let these vile characters live. So there's always that to champion for as well. But if you were on the fence, guys, about watching Squid Game season 2 or 3, don't be anymore. Please give them a go. They are awesome, and I really, really enjoyed this season. I do think 1 is the strongest, but man, it's kind of on par. I don't know which one was better out of 2 or 3. They kind of felt like one season, really, and Netflix just said it was season 2 and 3. But I highly recommend these guys if you like the first season. Give it a go. So that is Squid Game season 3. Next up, we do have I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and I remember not liking this too much when I reviewed it on this channel about 5 years ago. And yeah, I still don't really like it. Look, don't get me wrong, this is a movie that is so easy to watch. And it's kind of like the first one, where it's got excellent pacing and everything. It's just sit there and watch a slasher movie, you know, you don't have to think too much about it. But there's so many fucking bad character decisions in this movie that I was just constantly shaking my head. And I didn't care what happened to anyone, because they all deserved it. Now, they were struggling for a script here, I think. They had the first movie be a success, and they wanted to bring a new one out a year later. And it's not Kevin Williamson or anything like that. It's just the studios decided to get a script and bring the movie out because they wanted to rush it. And you can tell that there's so many plot holes in this movie. Like, this film relies on the audience to not know what the capital of Brazil is. There is character decisions like Jennifer Love Hewitt, who literally sees a dead body in her room. Okay, she literally sees a body fall in her wardrobe, and there's blood everywhere. So she runs down to tell her friends, and then she comes back with her friends, and there's no body there, but all her friends are like, oh, you're just imagining this. And she goes, oh yeah, I think you're right. I tell you what, I'm going to go and get a tanning session on the sunbed. And while she's on the sunbed, she puts her Walkman in so she can't hear nothing, even though she knows this killer is on the island. It infuriates me. And what happens? Yes, the killer comes while she's on the sunbed. Yeah, it's the worst horror movie character decision I think I've ever seen in my life. It really is that bad. But we've got these characters like Brandy. Is that her name? Brandy? Yes. Brandy, Mekhi Phifer. They're just bad friends for Julie. I mean, they just don't help it in any way whatsoever. Brandy's always pushing Julie into these situations with this guy called Will Benson. And like, you just know it's not going to happen. And she's just such a pushy friend. Like, she's a terrible friend to have. There's just so many things wrong with this movie. And I've got to say, the reveal of this film, I'm not going to say what it is in case you haven't seen it, but it is one of the worst movie quotes I have ever heard in my life. You will not believe what comes out of this killer reveal's mouth when he reveals himself to be the killer. So yeah, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. It's kind of a so bad it's good movie. That's what I class it as now. Kind of like those movies like Troll 2, Camp Blood and everything like that. I am putting that in that category now, because you're just shaking your head all the way through it, but you're having a good time. It's weird, but it's not a good movie. That is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. second big blockbuster of the month, guys, and we do have Superman. Now, I was really anticipating this one, with it being the start of the DC universe, by, you know, everything directed by James Gunn, and he's in charge of the whole thing, and he knows his comic books. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this movie. It is an unapologetic comic book film where James Gunn just throws you into this third year of Superman, and this comic book world has exploded, and we're in a comic book, basically. It's literally a comic book jumping off the page. Now, I'm quite new to comic books. You know, I've started reading a couple of them. I got the Supergirl one, you know, in my room there. So I'm ready for the new movie. I'm really excited to read that, because apparently that's the next movie. But you can tell, like, this is just very comic book-esque. I mean, everything in this movie feels like it's jumping off a comic book page. Superman, there are things that will not be explained to you, but you just go with it anyway. And the civilians in this world kind of just accept that they're in a comic book world, and you just go with it. I mean, it doesn't need no setup, really. It just throws you in there. Like, the opening scene is Superman in the middle of a fight. So, you know, you gotta, I weren't really expecting that, and it took me a bit of time to process it after the movie had finished. And I would like to rewatch this again, just to take it all in another, you know, for a second time there, before I carry on with the DC universe that James Gunn has created. But I thought David Corenswet, who obviously is off the movie Pearl, that's the only thing I've seen him in, was a great Superman. He looked the part. He, you know, had that connection that you could get with the Superman character. And Lex Luthor, I thought, was great in this as well, played by Nicholas Hoult. Real good villain for this movie. And there's a good little story in there about, like, wars in the Middle East and stuff like that, and, you know, all that going on in the background that kind of works with the movie and what the story is going for. So yeah, I did like this film. I just really want to rewatch it again, because it's a lot to take in. You know, if you know, being new to this world and everything, I kind of just didn't expect what I was going to see. But I had a good time there. I thought the Lois Lane character was awesome as well. She was like one of the best things about the entire movie. Forgot her name, I'm really sorry. But overall, a great Superman film. So yeah, highly recommend this one, guys. If you've been thinking about it, just go in expecting the unexpected, if you like. So that is Superman. Next up, we have Karate Kid Legends. Now, I missed this one at the cinema because I was on holiday. And when I come back from holiday, there was like so many movies I wanted to watch, like Ballerina and, okay, I forgot, but there was a lot of others. And this just kind of dwindled with the time periods, and they were all like 2 o'clock in the day when I was in work and stuff like that. I just did not have a chance to see it, but it came to, you know, VOD. So I finally decided to check it out. And I had a great time with this. It's the most simple movie I think I've watched in a long time. You don't really have to think about it too much. You just go with it and have fun. It's a 90-minute film that just flies by. It's just this kid moving to New York, and he meets this girl, and they become friends and everything, and she owns this pizza joint. Well, her dad does, and her dad wants to get back into boxing and everything like that. Now, this is where the story goes a little bit weird. Her father wants this kid who knows, you know, karate, to teach him a few things to make his opponent in boxing sort of be thrown off a little bit. So he wants to interrogate karate and martial arts, integrate, should I say, karate and martial arts into boxing. Now, that's a little bit weird, but that's like the middle act of the story, really. And then the third act is basically this kid taking on this girl's ex-boyfriend, really, who's an asshole. So overall, it's just got a weird middle second act, but I didn't hate it or anything like that. You got Jackie Chan in here and Ralph Macchio, who did feel like a little bit of a enlarged, what's the word? Glorified cameo, really. He didn't really serve too much of a purpose, but it was still nice to see him in here. But it's not on the level of Cobra Kai or anything. This is just a very simple Karate Kid movie. But I did really enjoy it. I had a great time with it. So I highly recommend this one, guys. If you're a Karate Kid or Cobra Kai fan, just don't expect the world, but it's a pretty good movie. So that is Karate Kid Legends. Next up, we do have I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, and this was as painful as the first time I watched it. However, I won't say it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen or anything. I've seen Anaconda 3 and 4, guys, and I would rather watch this 100 times over than watch them. So, but it's not a good film. It's a straight-to-video movie. I mean, there's no budget here or anything like that. And it just sees these friends who have a prank go wrong, and a year later this killer comes after them all. But there's no real characters to get behind here. I thought the main actress was okay, but nothing special. The editing in this film is absolutely awful. I don't know what the director's trying to do. He's jumping cuts all the time. Like, someone will just be walking down the street and it'll be like, just cut. And it's like, what are you doing? Now, I know he's trying to bring something to it because he hasn't got the budget, but it just didn't work at all. The editing is this is one of the worst edited movies I think I've ever seen. And the whole reveal of this fisherman to be a ghost or this zombie that comes back and he's an urban legend was bullshit. But I will say there's some better kills in this movie than the first two films, especially the forklift scene. But I've got to be honest, guys, I kind of hope I never have to watch this one again now. I would revisit the first two, but yeah, this one is a little bit too painful, in my opinion. So it just feels like out of place in this franchise, especially with the new one as well. So that is I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Hey guys, in the last couple of months I did speak about this box set, and I did watch the second movie. I watched the first one a while ago, but we finally got to, I'll just get it out there, Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. Now this was an interesting one because this is basically taking the whole concept to the city, and the other two basically take place in like a country sort of village, don't they? This one has this young boy who moves to this school with his brother, and he's trying to manipulate the whole school into joining this children, this cult of the man who walks behind the rose. That's what their god is called. It's just a stupid name. But for a while there, I thought this movie was okay. It was interesting to see the two brothers who were opposites. Like this one who's like very much part of this cult, and the other one is not. And seeing all the kids sort of slowly get manipulated by this kid and everything, it was okay. It's not the most interesting story or anything. I don't think this is a very strong franchise at all, guys. But the last 10-15 minutes absolutely destroys itself. It tries to go all big budget and have these monster effects and everything, and it was horrible to watch. It was such an eyesore. I mean, there's this girl who gets eaten by a monster at one point, and then as the monster gets it in her mouth, you can just tell it's like a plastic figure. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more else to say, guys. I mean, it took me a while to get through this box set. I watched the first one a while ago, second one last month, and the third one this month. I don't know if I'll be revisiting the others. I don't have them on Blu-ray. Maybe I'll pick them up. I don't know. But this, I can just tell this is going to be a painful franchise if I do decide to watch them. But I didn't hate this movie. I think the second one is my favourite, to be honest. I know a lot of people would say the first, but I wasn't a big fan of that either. I think the second one is the best. But yeah, it was nice to see a different concept and try and do something different in the whole sort of New York area with the corn. But overall, not a good movie, guys. That is Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. Next up, we have Xiam, which is about this Muay Thai fighter taking on a bunch of zombies in a hospital. Now, three things spoke to me there. A hospital in a horror movie, great location. A Muay Thai fighter. I used to do Muay Thai, so I was like, yeah, I really want to see this. And it's a zombie flick, of course, and I do love a good zombie flick. But after about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they start to get a little bit repetitive with this guy just kicking zombies' asses. Because you feel like you want him to use some weapons and stuff and shed some blood and gore here and there. And yeah, it just really wasn't working for me as much as the concept sounded like it would. And it asks a lot of you to get emotionally invested in the characters. So he's got to save his wife who's stuck in this hospital. I think she's a nurse. And this young kid who's just been stuck with him, as he enters the hospital because he's got nowhere to go. and you just don't care about any of these characters. There's no character development with them or anything. And it asks you to have edge of your seat moments where you're like, oh, is he going to save this wife? Is he going to save this kid? But you're not asking yourself that because you don't care. I just wanted to see a lot of zombie action and him kicking ass. But even that, you can tell the guy is a good Muay Thai fighter, but it just wore very thin after a while. Like I said, I wanted a bit more blood and gore there. And the zombies don't look great at times. They are CGI'd sometimes. Some of them are practical, some of it's CGI. And yeah, by the end of it, I was just like, yeah, well, I'll probably never watch that one again. It was a really good concept. That could have been so much more, but it just didn't work. It wasn't executed very well, unfortunately, guys. So that is Xi'an. That came straight to Netflix. Next up, we have another Blu-ray, and that is Troll Hunter. Now, I thought I might like this because I like found footage. I gotta say, this was a nice surprise. This sees these filmmakers trying to find out what this guy is up to, who goes out every night into the woods. And they soon find that he is actually hunting trolls, and he's trying to keep it out the eye of the public. And they go along for the ride with him and film him sort of trapping and killing these trolls and get into a bit of bother themselves as well. It's an interesting movie, I gotta say. And I had a good time with it. The guy who hunts the trolls is one of the coolest fucking characters I've ever seen in a movie, I gotta say. I mean, it does, after a while, you're like, oh yeah, okay, the mystery has been unraveled now, because they let their guard down very early on. You see the trolls very early on in this movie. And it kind of just feels like the same throughout, but I still had a fun time with it. And it was just like a found footage movie I haven't really seen before. So yeah, I do recommend this one, guys, if you do like found footage. It's a very fun take on the whole monsters of trolls and everything. There's a lot of troll lore in here. Like, this guy will constantly explain how trolls work and how dumb they are and everything. And I did like the little different trolls that we see. Like, there's a 3-headed one at one point, and then you've got this giant one that's just strolling across the field. And I like how the public are trying to find out what's going on, but they're not being told everything by the government and stuff like that. So yeah, good movie, guys. I recommend that one. That is Troll Hunter. Next up is a brand new release from Arrow, and that is Narc. I'll probably show this in my latest Blu-ray pickup video when I do it. But yeah, I think I got the opposite cover there. Yeah, I usually do that with these movies. Well, my friend lent me this, Kyle, on DVD years ago, and I never got round to it. But he was always recommending it, going, oh, you should watch Narc, it's great. It's got Ray Liotta there and Jason Patric as these two cops who were trying to find out what happened to Ray Liotta's ex-partner, because he was murdered. And Jason Patric goes along and teams up with him, and we find out what happened, and basically by them interacting with all these different characters and stuff, and these criminals. Now, I really liked how it was filmed. It felt very gritty and street level, and I really liked how Ray Liotta was this unhinged guy. Like, he just fucking wouldn't take no for an answer. He's a tough guy. I think he plays that character really well. But Jason Patric was really good in this as well. By the third act, though, kind of fell a little bit flat for me. Like, the first 2 acts were very strong, really good, gritty crime, buddy cop movie, detective film. And the third act, when it was all revealed, and I kind of guessed some of it as well, I was like, yeah, I don't think the reveal was all that great. And there's a big explanation in a warehouse with these 2 characters tied up. It kind of went on for a while, and I was like, I get it now. Can we move on with the movie? But overall, it was okay. I didn't mind it, and it was a very nice looking 4K as well. So that is Narc. Next up, we have I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. Now, I've heard a lot of bullshit about this one online as well, kind of like the plot holes and everything with Jurassic Park Rebirth, and they are warranted. I get it. There is some silly decisions in this movie, some silly character choices, some silly directional choices, or writing choices, should I say. But I can't lie, guys, I had a lot of fun with this movie in the theatre. I'm saying theatre, I'm watching too many American YouTubers. I had a lot of fun with this in the cinema. I expected a decent slasher movie. Didn't expect a masterpiece, and that's exactly what I got, because this franchise isn't the greatest anyway. Apart from the first film, it's nothing too nostalgic or too genius or anything like that. It's just a simple slasher franchise, and this is exactly what this one is. Now, it's very familiar to the first film with the story. Follows a lot of them same story beats. I kind of wish they'd done something a little bit different there. I mean, even the accident at the start of the movie happens in the exact same spot as the first film. So it feels like a remake, but it's not. It's actually a, what you call it? Is it requel, is it? Or, I forgot the name of it. Oh, no. Anyway, whatever them sequels are called that come out like 20, 30 years later. And it brings back the legendary characters like Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. I don't think they served too much of a purpose. Well, one of them did, but Jennifer Love Hewitt, I don't know if she's really doing too much here, but it was fine to see her there. But it's the new group of characters that I actually really liked, and I thought they were fun to be around. Especially the blonde girl, I forgot her name, but she's kind of like the Sarah Michelle Gellar of this franchise. She's the supporting actress, but she is very much the most likable, and she should have been the main character, in my opinion. I think the fisherman here definitely feels a lot more brutal and sinister. The kills are better. They're not unspectacular or anything, but compared to the other three movies, they're a step up. They're a little bit more creative and bloody. And I really liked how the whole town of Southport is given a bit of a history there, because all great horror films need to have good locations, don't they? So there's a bit more lore given to the town of Southport and everything. I did guess the reveal, and I kind of hate it when it does that, but it's kind of obvious from the start. But overall, a really fun slasher film, guys. I would watch this again. I'll probably pick it up on 4K. I had a good time with it. That is I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025. Next up, we have a movie that I've owned for a long time now, and I've wanted to watch it for ages, but I've just had to find a 2.5 hour time slot to watch it, and that is It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Now, I mentioned my friend Kyle before, who told me to watch Knock. He actually owned this on video, and I did see snippets of it, and me and him used to laugh our ass off at it, but I only ever watched like little 10-minute segments here and there. I've always wanted to watch the full movie, and I finally have. Now, this is a cartoon come to life. It's such an animated film, which sees this guy drive off a cliff, and all these characters go to see if he's okay. And he's about to die, and he goes, I know where the load of cash is, $350,000, which might not seem as much, but this is like a 50s movie, I think, or 1963. So it probably was a lot at the time. And these characters decide, he says, it's buried in a big W in this certain state, and the characters decide to race across the country to go and find this money. And they're just getting in each other's way, backstabbing each other and everything, and then a lot more characters find out, and it just becomes this big rat race, which is, I think, a remake of this movie, by the way, to get to this money. And it's just so entertaining, so funny, and I really liked the fight scene as well, with these two nerds who take on this guy. The whole garage just starts falling down like a movie set. It's so funny to see. So many comedic moments and everything. Real fun characters. I just had a great time with it. Me and my wife really enjoyed this one. And the runtime doesn't feel too bad. I mean, it actually flies by. And it's got a crazy third act. Like the last 20 minutes of this is just crazy. So yeah, I had a real fun time with this one, guys. It's a mad, 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 mad world. Next up, we have a first time watch for me. I can't believe it, because I love this guy and it's a horror movie. Just never ever got round to it, and that is End of Days. Now, this sees this kid born, and 20 years later, the devil wants to come and marry this woman off who, has been taken in by these devil worshippers, because when she was born, they kind of knew that she was the chosen one. So when she's a little bit older, like 20 years older, she's played by Robin Tunney from The Craft. The devil wants to come and make her his wife, and he is played by Gabriel Byrne. Now, he's not actually the devil; he's just a body that has been possessed by the devil. And Gabriel Byrne's having so much fun, being this devil character, this character that's been possessed by the devil. And it's up to Arnold Schwarzenegger to basically hunt him down and find out what the hell is going on. And it's all got to happen on the hour before midnight. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's got to put a stop to that, basically. And yeah, it was a really good crime horror movie here. I don't think there's too many one-liners from Arnold Schwarzenegger in this, but I really like the whole, like, religious horror really isn't my thing, but I really liked how they delved into that side of things on here. It really worked for this movie. Loved how there was like sides taken with Gabriel Byrne's character and then like all these good people who were against him, like good versus evil fighting itself in the middle of New York City there. Yeah, End of Days was a real fun ride, and I'm glad I finally watched it now. So that is End of Days. Next up, we do have Fantastic Four: First Steps, the latest Marvel movie. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Now, this is basically, it feels a little bit detached from the MCU because it's taking place in their own world and everything. And this is Fantastic Four and fighting crime and everything, and they're like the heroes of this world. But they have this baby, and everyone's like all excited for them and everything because they're having this baby, and they're wondering if this baby's gonna have superpowers and everything like that. But there's this looming threat outside. Is the villain's name Galactus? I think it is. And yes, Galactus. This Galactus character is eating planets, and the Silver Surfer comes down and says, "You have been chosen by Galactus to be eaten next." And everyone on Earth is panicking and everything. And this Galactus character says, "The baby you are about to have, or the baby you've got, give me him, because he harnesses more power than any planet that I could ever have, and your world will be saved." And the Fantastic Four do not want to give their baby up. Well, obviously Richard Reed and what's her name? Storm. It's not Storm, is it? Oh man, is it Storm? I think it is. Yes. They don't want to give their baby up. So it's kind of the world turning on the Fantastic Four for supposedly understandable reasons. But on the other hand, you can see why they don't want to give their baby up and everything. And they have to form a plan to basically take on this Galactus character and not have their planet eaten by Galactus, basically. Man, that took a long time to explain that. I'm really sorry. I was going around the houses there. Basically, that's the gist of the film. And yeah, it was just a real fun superhero movie. I really like Johnny Storm in this one, who's, played by Joseph Quinn, and The Thing and everything. Great characters. I wish Richard Reed would have used his powers a little bit more, but I really suppose they put that into the background and use him as the scientist, the guy who's so brainy in this, and that does come to fruition for a lot of the movie. So that's kind of like his main superpower, I suppose. I know we can stretch here and there, but he's kind of the smartest guy on the planet. So yeah, I'm probably contradicting myself there. That kind of worked for that. But yeah, I really like the villain in Galactus. I thought it was no bullshit villain, no backstory or why he's turned into this villain and everything. Just a real hard-ass villain who wants to destroy everything. And yeah, I had a fun time with it. I really like the whole aesthetic of this world. It's kind of like 60s but futuristic and everything like that. So yeah, it was one of the best MCU movies we've had in a long time, along with Thunderbolts there, I think. Really like that one as well. So that is Fantastic Four: First Steps. Next up, we have Happy Gilmore 2, and I gotta say, guys, I was disappointed with this movie. It's just nowhere near the original, and they do a decision very early on in this film that it just didn't sit right with me for the rest of the runtime, and I hated that they did that. So it mightn't bother some people, but it really did bother me. And then we just see Happy Gilmore being this like really depressive character for nearly the entire movie, and he's just down all the time. He's drinking constantly, and I was just not feeling it at all. There was some funny moments in this. Like, me and my wife laughed a few times, but overall I was just watching it going, who the fuck wrote this script? Like, why are they doing what they're doing? It's just a sequel that didn't need to go this way. I mean, just look, even the villain, Shooter McGavin, in this movie, he's having a really great time, but he basically comes out of a mental institute 30 years later, so So you can say he would probably want revenge on Happy Gilmore. And it all just ends up being this little fight scene and then they're friends. And I was just like, you got a great movie villain there. You know, you could have really enhanced this and just have Happy Gilmore take on Shooter McGavin again. I get that they're trying to do something different with the story, but it just didn't work. It weren't executed very well. And the whole thing is centered around this new golf tournament where this guy wants to make golf a more entertaining and quicker sport. And basically it's up to Happy Gilmore and all these golfers and Shooter McGavin to take on those golfers who are very much in favour of that sport, the TikTok generation, if you like. It's just, yeah, I really didn't like it, guys. I give it 2.5 on Letterboxd, but you know what? More I think about it, it's more like a 2. I really just hope they don't butcher his other I found the word now, legacy sequel. I really hope they don't butcher his other movies like Big Daddy or anything like that and come back to Netflix, because they'll probably do it. Because I believe this is like one of the most watched movies on Netflix. But yeah, Happy Gilmore 2 was a huge disappointment for you guys, unfortunately. That is Happy Gilmore 2. And last up, guys, we do have another comedy movie here, and this is Naked Gun from the Police Files something. I'm really sorry I forgot the full title of the movie, but I'd never seen these films, and we had the new one coming out, and my wife took an interest in the new one. She went, oh, that looks really funny. But all right, well, I'm going to watch the first 3 first before we go and see it. They were all on Amazon Prime or Paramount. And I watched this one, and they're only like 80 minutes long, guys. You can really fly through these 3. I'll speak about the other 2 next month because I didn't watch them in time in July. But this is like a spoof comedy. It's not really my go-to type of comedy. I like Scary Movie and Austin Powers, if you want to call it a spoof comedy. But apart from that, there's not really many that stand out to me. There's been so many poor ones over the years. But this one was great. You know, I really like Leslie Nielsen in this. I say great. I give it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd because you know what you get. And basically, it's a joke-a-minute movie, but there's no story in there. But me and my wife had a fun time with it. You know, there was lots of funny moments. And if one joke doesn't land, the next one probably will. Really like Leslie Nielsen's comedic timing and everything, but he basically has to track down these people who've injured his partner and put him in hospital, really. That's the whole type of gist of the movie. But yeah, gags a minute, really stupid humour, but a lot of it did work for me. So yeah, it wasn't bad, and it got me in the mood for the new one, which again I'm going to talk about in next month's video. So that's The Naked Gun. Hey guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. What did you think of these movies? Please do let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I mean, I squeezed in what I could this month, but yeah, look out for next month's video as well. And I'll probably have a Blu-ray 4K update coming soon. I have got a few other videos planned, guys. I hope to get them out soon, but we'll see. So that is my end of month vlog. So thanks so much, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.